In this next video, we'll show you how to use categories to sort questions and make them available to put them into quizzes later on. So the first thing you want to do is start by turning the editor on, or editing option on. So it's already turned on right here. Then we're going to go into administration, go down to administration and choose question bank, and from question bank, choose categories. When you first start a Moodle shell, a new Moodle shell, it's only going to have one category, your default category right here. This one happens to have 200 questions because I just put them in there because I'm going to use them in a second. But ordinarily, this would be completely empty and there'd be no questions at all. So now I'm going to want to create categories. So the simplest thing to do is to sort my questions by quiz so that every new question I create is going to go specifically into a category for a specific quiz. If you wanted to, though, you could use some other kind of way of categorization. For example, you could put all the multiple choice questions in one category, or you could put all of the short answer questions in another category. Or alternatively, you could create a nested series of categories so that you could put all of one question type for each quiz in its own category. Let me show you. So we start off, since there's only one category, that's going to be our parent category by default. So I'm going to make up a category. So we'll call it quiz number 1. Quiz number 1. Now I'm going to go through and I'm going to go add category. And it's going to think for a while. And now I have a category. In this category, you can see has 0 questions within it. Now, if I wanted to, I could make a subsidiary category to that by going and choosing for my parent category, quiz number 1. And now if I wanted to, I could say put short answer in here. And that's going to allow me to now create a subcategory. Now, I'll tell you that personally, I never do this. I always just create single categories for each one of my quizzes. But if you wanted to, you could do this. So let's go back, and now let's make a quiz number 2 category. Quiz number 2. Quiz number 2. And I'm going to have for this my parent category. Again, I don't want this going underneath quiz number 1. I want it to be underneath my default category. So I'm going to make its parent category be the default here. Make sure it's that and not something else. So there we go, it's the default, and I'm going to create quiz number 2. Now you don't have to do this all at once. You don't have to anticipate how many quizzes you're going to have. You can create a new category whenever you need it. So now I've got quiz number 1 and quiz number 2. So where is this going to be useful? This is going to be useful when you go into your question bank and you start adding questions. So when I go into questions in my question bank, which I'm going to show you in detail in a second. Now you can see you can choose which category you want to see the questions in, or which ones you want to add them to. So I could choose my quiz number 1 right here, which of course has no questions at all, and now I can add them in here. The other way this is going to be useful is if I'm going to be adding questions to a quiz itself. And I'll pause for a second to create a mock quiz, and I'll show you how this works. So now I've created a mock quiz, and we'll go through in detail how to add things later on. But here's my mock quiz category right here. And so if I go and I click on that, there are no questions in this quiz, so it's going to get mad at me and tell me I want to add questions to it. So if I go edit quiz, and I'm going to show you how to do this in detail in a second, but I just want to show you that when you go over here and you want to add a question, let's say I'm going to add a question from the question bank, it's then going to give me the option of choosing one of those categories, and I can choose specific things from there. Now, if I have all my questions mixed together, that means I have to sort all the ways through them if I want to add a question, and it's going to be a giant pain in the butt. I have to find my question in this list of 200. So I'm far better off sorting them. It really is going to save you time later on. So that is how you create categories and why you would want to create categories. So in the next video, we're going to show you the kinds of questions that exist and how you create questions.